let's talk about Keir Starmer and how bold he's being, or perhaps isn't being, about where he plans to take the country to. See, my journey with Keir Starmer has been pretty interesting. When he first emerged, like everybody else, I thought he was boring. I was pretty much uninterested. He seemed to have no real campaigning spirit. And, in an age of conviction politicians, I wanted someone who had a strong sense of where we were going. And then he started to tackle anti-Semitism. And I must confess, I was really impressed. Here's a man on a mission who's going to rid the Labour Party of anti-Semitism, create a Labour Party that's ready for government, and he's done a very good job. However, U-turn after U-turn has led us to a place where more and more people are criticizing him and aren't really sure exactly what he believes. A key part of Labour's plan for our future was for it to be a future basically backed by green growth. We were going to have growth that was going to be all about the environment and incentivizing companies to sort of do the right things, to pay their dues, etc., etc. So there was this £28 billion green investment pledge that he made. And he said, this is what's going to happen. Of course, we had the shadow chancellor who set her fiscal rules that Labour also had to obey. But we believe that this is one of the kind of key plans for the future that he had. And in recent weeks, we've seen another U-turn. Labour basically ditching that plan, saying it's not going to happen anymore. And the reason he gave is the reason every party gives, which is the other party messed up the economy. In this case, it obviously has credibility because Liz Truss did crash the economy, but still people are saying, to what degree did you really believe this policy if, like all the other policies, you're just scrapping it once you get a bit of criticism about how it's going to work? Now, of course, you can imagine Rishi Sunak wasted no time. He said, this is proof that this is, what did he call him? This is Captain Hindsight, a prime minister in waiting that has no plans for the future. Do not vote for him. If you vote for Labour, you're back to square one. Now, there is an interesting discourse here about changing your mind, something I kind of miss in politics. When presented with new information, I don't see any problem. And I would love if more of our politicians just said, hey, there's new data, and I'm changing my mind about this situation, or I'm changing my mind about this policy. Sticking strongly, or sticking on rather, to a wrong idea for the sake of kind of consistency, I don't really see the point of. There's nothing wrong with saying there's new data, and for that reason, we're dropping this pledge. However, I'm not sure that's what's happening here, because first you have to ask yourself, where did the £28 billion come from in the first place? Was it just an arbitrary number? I mean, what was surrounding that? How come you can just chuck that away so quickly? Of course, initially he diluted it, then he watered it down, some more, and now he's totally binned it. The reason he's doing this is because he's starting to realize, as has always been the case, in politics, when you set a target, you open up yourself to all sorts of criticism, and unfortunately, you become beholden to events that are outside of your control, and you can be nailed on that. You'll remember famously the Conservative Party saying they were going to cut immigration to the tens of thousands. When that happened, guess what people have been asking? It's nowhere near the tens of thousands. So even if they made progress because they didn't hit their goal, they would always be criticized. The same thing's true, and this is kind of the crucial blunder that unfortunately Rishi Sunak has made, right? I'm going to stop the boats. Stop the boats, he said. This means if there are boats crossing the channel, getting here, and able to claim asylum or whatever it is, he's failed, and he will always fail. Rather than saying, I'm going to stop the boats, he could have worded it differently or set a different target, one that he couldn't be nailed on. And perhaps this is what Labour are starting to realize. As they extend their lead in the opinion polls, they're thinking, okay, we might actually win here. We might actually be in office. How do we ensure we don't set ourselves up for failure? One of the ways is to scrap all the different plans that have numbers attached to it, that have some sort of benchmark attached, so that way we can create, if you like, our own progress and not be marked as harshly as people often are marked when they set a target they want to reach. This is why I think Labour keep flip-flopping. This is why I think Keir Starmer keeps changing his mind, is because he's getting closer and closer to power, and he knows he's going to be held accountable. He's planning for a 2-term victory. They're planning to transform the country over 10 years. And for that reason, he wants to keep it slim, keep it light. I'm looking forward to seeing Labour's manifesto. I would love to know from you, what do you expect to see in Labour's manifesto? What do you think they're going to commit to for the future? One thing's for sure, there will be no great giant green investment pledge. If you enjoyed this video, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. It's the one way you can support this channel. And of course, as this channel grows, as it gets better, we can create more videos for you to enjoy.